one, we have a lot of really random things apparently, and two, they line up quite well with things in occult museums. So I don't know really what that means. Alright, this is Johanna from Travelers Paranormal, completing the 20th challenge in the Paragames. This is going to be a haunted artifact challenge. So, the challenge was to pick an item from the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren's occult museum, and like virtually try and connect with it. So Tony Spear, their son-in-law, has put up a ton of videos of the bookshelves and stuff in their museum. And so we watched them all, and we were like watching really carefully on those bookshelves to see if we had something that would be like, similar to what's there that we could use as a trigger object. And we found several. So, one, we have a lot of really random things apparently, and two, they line up quite well with things in occult museums. So I don't know really what that means. But in the museum is a piano. It is said to play itself. You'll hear it playing, and then as soon as you come to the room, it will stop. I don't know the story behind the eye. I call it the eye of the storm. I don't really know what it's called. Something's eye. But we saw that on one of the bookshelves. This Raggedy Ann doll, this is what Annabelle really looks like. She's not the porcelain figure you've seen in the movies. She's a Raggedy Ann doll. I have a little music monkey guy. Alright, like, I don't know what the story is behind him, but he's in their museum, and he's creepy. They have a clown doll, so I've got a little clown doll here from when I was a kid, how I learned to tie shoes. He's a very nice clown doll, but he's going to be used as a trigger object here. And then this picture is my real object. We're supposed to pick one. So that's my real object that I'm really going to try and focus on, the shadow doll. And what it is you can use this to curse people. Like, to the point where you can take a picture of the doll, like this, right? If I wrote somebody's name on the back of that, and then I mail it to them. Now, hold on, I haven't even started the SBOX yet. So calm yourself down there. So if I take the shadow doll's picture, and I write someone's name on it, and I mail it to them, as soon as they take ownership of that picture, they could be cursed. So that's the story of the shadow doll. So I have 20 minutes for this challenge to try and communicate and see if I can get anything to come through. Annabelle so nicely demonstrated for us that there's little cat balls in front of each of them. So if those go off, we'll know. And then obviously this thing, like if something happens to it, you'll see the light change. So it's actually something that we've talked about, like for investigations. So it's kind of neat that we get to try and see if anything happens with it. I'll have 20 minutes. I'll be listening to the SBOX, and I'll watch for the cat balls to light up. And once again, these are just trigger objects, similar objects to what you would find in the Warrens Museum, not the actual ones, because that would be a theft. So, let me start my timer. And my SBOX. Alright. This is Johanna from Travelers Paranormal. Is there anyone here who would like to communicate with me? You can try and speak through my SBOX or light up any of those little balls there. On top of my piano is a picture. Is anyone here that's seen that picture before? said my name is Johanna. Is there anyone who would like to communicate? If there is anyone who would like to communicate, can you try and light up one of those balls or speak through this device? They say that just holding or looking at that picture with your name written on it can cause you to be cursed. Is there anyone here that's been cursed by that doll? So I think I heard a yes. Can you tell me your name? We call that doll, the name I know is the shadow doll. Is there anyone that knows of a different name for that doll? I've heard a couple of voices, but I didn't understand you. Is there any way you can tell me your name? If any of the objects on the piano look familiar to you, can you light up one of the ball in front of them? So I just heard the same voice, like 3 syllables, then 2 syllables, then 2 syllables again. Can you please repeat that? I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Can you please repeat that? If you're talking about one of those objects, can you light up the ball in front of it so I know which object you're talking about? So I think I heard a couple 3 syllables. I didn't really understand it though. Can you please tell me which object looks familiar to you? Is there very hard to understand you. Can you try and use one of those tap balls to communicate with me? If you light the little ball up in front of the items, then I'll at least know which one you're talking about. So I thought I heard, like, almost like a croak, not really a voice. I thought I heard can't, monkey. Are you trying to light up the ball in front of the monkey? I think I heard I can't. What are you trying to do? It's like a voice, but it's more like croaking than words. Can you try and tell me your name? If you go near the big ball on the piano with the lights on it, they'll react to you and let me know that you're here. Can you try and do that? So I thought I heard it say can't see. Can you not see the items on the piano? If there's someone here who would like to communicate, can you please try and tell me your name? Have you ever heard of the shadow doll? So I thought I heard I want to and then maybe, so I'm not really sure. If there's someone here, can you try and light up one of the bulbs on the piano? Can you light up the ball of your favorite item? So, trying to use these items as trigger objects, that's something we do on investigations. I've got a cool story about a trigger object. We were at the Crescent Hotel in Arkansas. It's said to be haunted by a young boy that they called Brecky. His mother had worked there, and he had passed away. He'd become very ill and passed away. when he was like 4 years old. Well, after he passed away, his mother eventually left. She learned about being a midwife. She actually is credited with saving the lives of lots and lots of babies in the Appalachian area of Tennessee, Kentucky. Her last name was Breckenridge. I feel like her first name was Mary. And there was a commemorative stamp. She saved so many lives, mothers and babies, with her skills that she brought to a very poor and very isolated area of the country. And this is going way back, late 1800s, early 1900s. But she was credited with saving so many lives that, I don't know, in the 90s maybe, they made a commemorative stamp for her. So I took this stamp with me to the Crescent Hotel. I put it in my room, and I was like, hey, Brecky, I know you passed away when you were little. This is what your mom looked like when she was much older, because it was her as an older woman. And I left the stamp on the table. We went out, we were investigating, all that stuff. We went to sleep. The next morning, the stamp had moved. Did the child move it, or was it just a little piece of paper and it moved on its own? I don't know, because I didn't see when it moved, but the stamp had moved. I would like to imagine that Brecky had actually come to take a look at the stamp and see what his mother looked like when she was older. That would be really neat if that was true. But that stamp, for that investigation, I'm getting really cold, but it may be because I've worked all night and it's like 3 in the morning, or 3:30, or whatever. That stamp served as a trigger item. Nothing particularly haunted about it, nothing strange about it, but hopefully it allowed the spirits to interact. So, I've got some items on this piano and this piano itself. Is there any spirits who would like to interact with them? I will say this, I don't mind telling a long story, because I have found that on investigations, when you're asking questions, sometimes you get nothing, and then when you just start talking to the other people around, that's when stuff happens. My name is Johanna. Is there anyone here who would like to communicate? That little monkey doll can play music and move his cymbals. Is there anyone here who would like to try and get him to move? It's okay to play with him. He doesn't have a name. If you want, you can give him a name. What would you like to call him? I heard 4 syllables, so I didn't understand it. If there's someone who would like to communicate, can you light up the ball in front of the item you like the most? I have a picture on the piano. Is there anyone who's seen that doll before or knows of it? I don't know a lot about it. I'd like to know more. Is there anyone who can tell me about that doll? it's evil. Why do you say that? Now I think it said careful. Do you know where that doll came from? Two syllables, but I didn't understand. Can you tell me what it's called? I think it said a creature. Are you calling the doll a creature? If you're talking about the doll, can you light the ball up in front of it? Do you not like the items that I have here? I think it said no. Why don't you like them? Pretty sure I'm going to be running out of time soon. Is there anyone here who would like to communicate with me? If so, can you tell me your name? That is an ugly, ugly doll. Like, if you look at it long enough, it feels like it's staring back at you. I think I'm almost out of time. If there's anyone here who would like to communicate, can you light up one of the balls on the piano? Alright, my alarm clock went off, so I am out of town. Nothing. No balls lit up. Nothing wanted to communicate. But I tried. Couple of interactions maybe on the SBOX. The croaking was weird. I don't know what that was all about. But thank you very much for watching. So this is Johanna from Travelers Paranormal. 20 challenges to Paragames from What the Paranormal. This was one that I thought was super cool, the idea of trying to use some items as trigger objects. I know the Warrens are controversial, but, go either way on that. But yeah, this was a fun challenge. I was definitely looking forward to this. So thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you next week, hopefully with the next challenge. Hi, so this is Megan from Travelers Paranormal, completing the 20th challenge of the Paragames, which is a haunted objects challenge. So the point of this challenge is we're supposed to pick something from the Warren's Haunted Museum. That museum is housed currently in what used to be Ed's art shop, and it was founded basically in 1952, which is when they also founded something like the New England Psychical Research Society or something like that, when the Warrens founded it. Right now, it's curated by Tony and Judy Sparrow. Judy is their daughter, Tony is her husband. And so we watched some videos that he had put up, looking for items that are in the museum. And so what I have here is, I still have the organ. Well, it's a piano, but in their museum it's an organ. And so supposedly that organ plays itself, but if someone comes in, then it stops. And when we were researching it, we found two different stories. I know Johanna went through. One of them is that it was from a priest, and the other one is that it came from the Phelps Mansion. So the Phelps Mansion was a banker businessman who built this glorious mansion, 3 floors. He lived there with his 2 teenage sons and like a niece and several other people. Servants and such. And so he passed away and left it to his sons. He was like 64 when he died. He left it to his sons, who both ended up dying young. One died at the age of 26 and the other one died around 21. But so what I found was that the organ may have come from there. We'll look into that. I also have a sword here. They talked about a sword that had been used in satanic rituals. I have a whiskey decanter, which we saw on the shelves. We don't know what the story is to that. I have a teddy ruxpin, which are creepy in and of themselves. Again, we don't know the story behind that. And then I still have the same thing that Joe had. We call it an eye of the storm. So if anything touches it, you'll see it go off like that. And I know Johanna said that we had been planning on thinking about using it in investigations, and so now we've got it here. Just like Joe had, I've got cat balls at each of the different items. And I have an SBOX, here it is. And I have an SBOX that I'm going to run. Sorry, I'm very tired. I just got off of, just like Joe, got off of our shift at work. And so I'm going to start up this SBOX. And of course, I was saving it for last because this is my main item. You're supposed to pick one, but when you have multiple things that match the Warrens, why not use them? And so this dinosaur is my main item, and I picked it because the Warrens have it, and it is connected to the case that most people, if you know the movies, know it as The Devil Made Me Do It, the 3rd movie that came out. And so that is that 11-year-old, I believe at the time, David Glassell, was at a house that the family, I have a cat in here, so if you see me move quickly, it's because there's a cat coming near the candle. David Glassell was with his family looking at a house that they were planning to rent, and in 1980, and there was a waterbed that people had been planning on earlier, and so he went to check it out, and he saw an old man in a torn plaid shirt and jeans who told him to beware, that he was going to steal his soul, and physically threw him back onto the bed. After that, David began suffering from nightmares where he would continually see the same man, sometimes in the image that you saw, sometimes barefoot, sometimes with cloven hooves, and the man would continue to threaten him. The man would physically attack him. He would wake up with bruises. He would be suffering from these night terrors and just all around suffering. And so the family called in some priests to try to get an exorcism. And during one of these sessions that they were having, Arnie Johnson, the boyfriend of David's sister Debbie, and Debbie was about 25 at the time, Arnie was about 19 at the time, challenged whatever was possessing David. He said, take me on instead. And so after that, they kept treating David. One day, Arnie went back to the house. They decided they weren't going to stay in it anymore. One day, Arnie had gone back to the house, and supposedly he saw the man who they were calling the beast, the man by the well, and at the house. And then after that is when, according to Debbie and Arnie, he became fully possessed, and the spirit was attacking him. So in February of the following year, Debbie and Arnie were at the house of Debbie's boss. I think his last name was Bono. And they were at his house. And also there were Arnie's two younger sisters, I believe, and Debbie's niece. And supposedly the boss said some crude things about the girls, and Arnie got angry and they decided they were going to leave, and the man grabbed onto the niece, and at that point Arnie just got really angry. Debbie didn't see what happened because she was trying to break up the fight between him and the boss. The little girl ran out to the car. Arnie's sisters were trying to hold him back, but all of a sudden he just pulled out a knife and he killed Debbie's boss. And then he just started walking, and like the police found him later, having walked down the road through the woods and such. He was held on a $125,000 bond, which would be about $400,000 today, and he was tried. And his defense, his lawyer, a gentleman by the name of Manila, used the "devil made me do it" defense, where they were saying he was possessed and that is why he did it. And he blacks out. He doesn't remember it. He was tried with that. The judge, who I believe his last name is Callahan, Judge Callahan, he ended up, when the lawyer began questioning during voir dire, he began questioning the first potential juror, started asking about his religious beliefs, and at that point the judge said, we're not going to allow that as a good defense. And so they had to throw it out. The lawyer got the idea, he said, from two cases in the UK. One involved an arson, where they did use the "devil made me do it," apparently. I tried to find information on this. I could not. The only thing I could find is that neither case went to trial. So take with that what you will. But so that was the basis for him trying to use this defense. Sometime in November is when the case was settled. Arnie was found guilty of, I believe it's involuntary manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years. He ended up serving 5 years and then being released. And he has not been violent towards anyone else, and he has made a successful career and such. So this case, as several other cases with the Warrens, can be controversial. Another brother of David says that the events did not happen the way that they are portrayed. Lorraine had ended up writing a book. So he said she didn't write a book, I'm sorry. Someone else did, but she helped him. But the brother says the events did not happen that way. What we're focusing on right now for this investigation is the dinosaur doll. So at one point while David was possessed, the dinosaur doll, he had built it. Obviously this is not the one he built, that's the way. But so he had built it, and at one point it started walking across the floor by itself and levitated and told the family that they were all going to die. So that is our main object for this investigation. Now, all of that having been said, I'm going to get my SBOX on. And I'm going to start my timer. It was fun because Johanna used the Annabelle doll in her investigation, and I was talking to her about it, and the ball, one of the balls that was in front of it, just started going off. And we're like, wait, no, we didn't start yet. My name is Megan. Is there anyone here that would like to communicate? I thought I heard her say me as I was putting the volume up. Is there anyone here that recognizes these items? If you do, there are little balls by them, and if you touch them, they'll light up, and we can communicate that way. So let's just wait for that one to stop. While we wait, that one I got because I helped a coworker move, and he was like, you can take anything that you want that I'm leaving behind. And I was like, this whiskey decanter is the coolest thing in the world. It has a globe, a map on it. I love maps. Okay, so now let's stop. If there's anyone here who recognizes any of these items or has something similar, if you touch those balls in front of them, they'll light up. Would anyone like to try that? Yes? Alright. Try to touch one of the balls and see if you can get it to light up. Sound like it's a kidding. I'm not kidding. If you touch those balls, it'll light up. Is there anyone here who knows how to play the piano and can show me how to play the piano? These dolls and objects here are standing in for items that are owned or were owned by Lorraine and Ed Warren. Is there anyone here who knows who those are? If there is, can you tell me? The eye of the storm is what we call it, but the item on the end with the lights on it, if you touch that, it will bring those lights to you. If there's anyone here, can you try to do that? I see you lighting up the ball on the dinosaur. That dinosaur is symbolizing one that used to belong to a boy named David Glassel. Do you know that name? I'm going to let that light go out. Let the light go out. Okay, let it doesn't run this long. Please, if there's someone here, please stop touching the light. Thank you for stopping for a moment. David Glatzel? Is that a name that is familiar to you? Can you tell me what kind of dinosaur that is? Can you tell me what color that dinosaur is? Yes? What color is that dinosaur? I thought it said green. Can you light up the ball again like you did before? You did that so well. Can you light up the ball again? Did you not know David Glatzel? Do you know one of the other names associated with that dinosaur? Yes? Do you know Cheyenne Arnie Johnson? Do you know Ed and Lorraine Warren? Can you try to light up one of the other balls? And so, there are a bunch of voices coming through, but it's not very much that I can actually understand. Like I said, we are here. Do you know who the man in the plaid shirt and the torn plaid shirt and jeans was? That scared David Glatzel? Have you ever seen that man? If you have, you can light up any of the balls, or touch the eye of the storm, or play a key on the piano. Do you know who that man is? Okay. You're lighting up the ball in front of the dinosaur. You seem to like that ball. I'm going to switch it. Can you let it turn off? I'm going to switch it with one of the other balls. So obviously these are going off now because I just touched them. So a lot of the times in an investigation, if we have one ball that keeps going off, we will switch it just to make sure it's not perhaps a malfunction with that ball. Would you be able to light the ball up with the dinosaur now? If you know who the man in the torn plaid shirt and jeans are, can you please light up the dinosaur ball? I thought it just said it's him. Who is he? Is he the one who actually killed Mr. Bono? Did he just use Arnie to do that? So this year we went to the Paracon in Michigan. Wonderful event, by the way. And there was a speaker. I'm very tired, so I'm forgetting his first name. Last name is Bellinger.
He produces several different shows and stuff. Anyways, he gave a talk actually on The Devil Made Me Do It defense, talking about how it was right that it was thrown out because you have to also take ownership of what you do, whether it's that moment, the killing, or just the challenging that Arnie did. You have to take on your own part of the responsibility. Otherwise, someone can say at any time. And that made me think of Hannah Arendt's, I believe, The Banality of Evil. And Ed Warren talks about the devil and says the devil is a liar. But I also think there's something to the banality of evil, that the devil is mediocre. He's regular. If you read C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters, it's a great example of it. If you watch there's a movie where a gentleman is interacting with the devil, and I don't remember what it's called, but the devil is just like this petty figure in it. So now the dinosaur ball is not lighting up anymore that we have switched, and neither is it the original one that took a whiskey decanter. And so it's not just that ball malfunctioning. Something was triggering it. What, we can't say, but something was triggering it. Is there anyone here who knows or has recognizes this dinosaur or a dinosaur like it? Yes. Do you know David Glassel, or the man who attacked him? I did. Can you light up the ball that is in front of the dinosaur? Can you light up any of the balls that are on top of this piano or play a note on the piano? Just a warning for anyone who watches this. If a note on the piano does play, this piano is terribly out of tune. We actually got this piano from a neighbor. When we were growing up, we lived next door to this woman. And then we moved, and years later, after she had passed away, they were trying to, her family was, finishing up her affairs, and they wanted to sell the house, and they wanted to get rid of the piano. And our mom took it. And we always had dreams of learning how to play, but we never really did, and we didn't get this piano tuned. So this piano has not been tuned for at least 25 years. So if it plays, it's going to play badly. My time needs to be running out soon. Would you like to try to light up the ball in front of the dinosaur one more time? Can you tell me the name of the man in the torn plaid shirt that attacked David Glassel? There were a string of syllables there, but I really didn't catch them. Last chance. If there's anyone here who would these objects, or can you touch the eye of the storm or play a note on the piano so that we can communicate? So, like I said, Ed Warren, when talking about that dinosaur and talking about the possession of David Glassell, would talk about that the devil is a liar and that they attack the weak members, either emotionally or physically. And so, the attacking of David, he was at the house with other adults, so they picked on the young kid that was there. If there's anyone here, can you light up one of the balls on the table, or touch the eye of the storm, or play a note on the piano? We're not sure the origin of the piano at the organ at the Warrens Museum. Did they get that organ from a priest, or did it come from the Phelps mansion? When I was researching it and reading about the Phelps Mansion, it made me think of another place that we have investigated in the past, which is the Vale Mansion, which is just a wonderful house, but also sadness for the original owner, kind of like the Phelps Mansion. Harvey Vale and his wife Sophia, they didn't get to live together in the mansion for very long. Harvey went through different legal troubles, and Sophia became sick and passed away. And so they didn't get to enjoy that mansion, kind of like Judge, he was called Judge, I don't think he was a judge, he was a banker and a businessman, but Judge Phelps passing away within like 7 or 8 years of the mansion being built, and then his son was dying young. If there's anyone here who would like to communicate, can you try to affect one of the objects on this piano? It's a tapping. Okay, I thought it said whiskey, which is fun, just because I have that whiskey decanter here. Do you know this whiskey decanter? You don't know the story behind the one with the woman?